Hello, my name is Brant Hunt. Today is the 20th day of May 2022. My title of my talk tonight is very clear. I feel like it's clear. How we get sucked into rabbit holes. We never connect reality. I guess is what I'm trying to say. How rabbit holes actually lead to you being caught in a web. And what I mean by that simply is this. I was talking with a friend today, and people will spend literally years upon years um, pursuing certain deals. Like, you know, again, I'm not attacking any group here, but there are many people who, there's this whole right left paradigm. I see it is, you got people who are involved with the round Earth. You have people involved with the flat Earth. I don't think there's either one. I just don't feel like that's true. I think there might be a mix of the two in some way, and even you can look at the area of concave perspective. But people have made it their religion or espouse certain things and will actually miss the point. And what I mean by miss the point, they're so involved with being a part of that particular perspective that they don't understand that they are on two pillars. One could be what we call the right pillar, and the other is the left pillar. And they will spend they will spend most of their, they'll spend a long time getting caught up in that whole tangent. And I'm not, again, this is just simply an illustration. I'm not jumping around earthers or flat earthers. I really don't care about the subject, to be honest with you, because I think it's a way for people to get distracted in that particular thing, and they get caught up when I say with a bandwagon position. I'm on this particular position, and I'm solid, and I know what I'm talking about. And what happens simply is that how do you know that? And you're already divided. That is simply as you made your brother or your sister and you made that bigger. What I mean by that is you've allowed a speck in someone else's eyes to become a boulder, a gigantic deal. You've actually separated yourself from others, because of that issue. And that's part of the whole game, is to divide you. It's not to, that's what the whole, if you understood this. So the other thing, the illustration I could give you is, part of that simply is to look into that and go on. Don't make it a repertoire of what you are. In other words, don't make it a selling point of your life and how you dismiss certain people in your life because of that issue. There are more important things to have disagreements about, okay? And so the whole thing is simply is you want to connect. You want to get a big picture of it. you want to know, how does this connect? Because what you're looking for, this is just a piece of the puzzle. And so how important is that piece of puzzle here? So why would I want to spend so much of my time and energy and getting on a bandwagon? It's the same with the Republicans, Democrats. It's the same right, left pillar. It's just it's either or. It's just always either or. It's we and them, or, it's just we and them. It's this perspective of how even our talk is simply is that they don't agree with me, such and such. But what you want to do is be able to connect and mesh the puzzle. You want to connect it and understand what's going on so that you actually connect it, and one piece fits in another piece. You say, okay, I've got that. I understand that. Let's move on. That's what you need to be preoccupied or occupied, not preoccupied, but occupied with, because what's happening simply is that most people are spending their time. I guess it was 2013, 2014 that I was involved with Mark Passio. And I was, really into him for a while. And then I saw through him and I just moved on. I think he did some good things with what we call the natural law deal. But he never talked about Lysander Spooner, which really kind of irked me, because actually Lysander Spooner is probably one of the major people we would call natural law. And I don't know why he did that. Why did he not lead others in that direction, so to speak? I read the book by Lysander Spooner talking about natural law. And that's fine. But what's happening simply is that people are wait a minute, let me just say this. In a lot of ways, you are the authority. Okay. You have to make the judgment. You have to say, is this correct or is it not in my own life? And that's it. You see, because what they do, those that are actually planning these things, is to keep you separate, to keep you divided, and you never actually work together. And I think in some ways there's strengths in being an individual, but there's also strengths in actually working together as a group. You see. And this is a concern basically because people just get wound up in it. I mean, they're just completely in it. And it absorbs them. How deep is the rabbit hole? And that's the key. So why is it, the other thing simply is, why is it happening now? In other words, ask yourself, why is there this whole what I would call a magnetic effect upon people, that they actually spend a lot of their time in these rabbit holes? Because I think simply is that they want you to be preoccupied with those particular things, but they're not. That's not the major deal. That's not major. You see, like some things simply is like trying to discover basically, what's the deal with what we call spiritual issues, or to do with what I would call we how do we know this is not them setting this up? Okay, I'm going to ask another question. How do we not know that those who are involved with this actually use certain people to pull people to each of tangents? See, pull them away over here, pull them over there. And that's a great concern to me, because I believe some of these people are plants. I believe that they are there to draw people and keep them away from the real truth. And what do I mean by the real truth? Well, some of these things you can say, well, this could be true, but how likely is it really is the truth? You see. Part of it's also to do with simply, as I've said a little bit, I gave allusion to that, was to do with what I would call, it's just this whole idea that I'm in this group, I'm part of this thing. And that's where people do. They gravitate towards that. And they hold on to that. That's their identity, you see, these so-called rabbit holes. My concern simply is, why aren't you not looking at issues to do with what I would call you being free? Because, you can't do anything with this particular information, such and such, what you're dealing with. Because if you're not free, you don't have that freedom to search those things. So it's a bedrock or foundation to do with what I would call a freedom issue. You see, how can we be more free? You see. And like I said, I was talking to a friend one day. It just concerns me simply is that it's a tangent. It just leads you away. There are so many things like this, and some of them, okay, you just move on. That's just what you do. You pick up what is you feel is true, you pull it, you take it, the rest you dispose of. That's how it works. If it is not true, you know, you know, like what I would say simply is that if it doesn't hold evidence, or if you may go back to it, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just a preoccupation with people, and their whole websites, or either their whole idea on Facebook, is just dealing with this particular thing, and they are not widening their whole perspective. They're not widening the whole perspective here. They're simply being in what I call looking at a certain detail, and that's it. And there's nothing wrong with that again, but the problem is simply is there's so much more out there. You see, and I feel like it's a trap. I do. You have to be able to discern what is true, and you have to discern, well, okay, is this true? Does this make sense? Does this hold any evidence? Am I just being led down here? I'm spending 6 months of my life involved in this. And part of this is also a growing experience. Also, that is simply is when you see these things and you say, yeah, this is not important. This isn't important. And it's not just that issue. There are all kinds of issues out here. People get involved in many, many issues, and they are not seeing the big picture. And there's nothing wrong with details, but is it a trap? Is it a way to actually rob you of your energy? You see, just like religion is in many aspects. Religion can rob you of your energy. You're putting so much time in it, and you put part of it simply is your beliefs. You see, and so one of the things you need to ask yourself is, and I've done this before. Who am I? Why am I here? And where am I going? Or basically, who am I? Also could ask, where did that come from? And where am I going? And the key simply is that those are major deals. Those are major questions. And those are far more expansive, far more, because these are not they're not into little stuff like looking here and saying, okay, like a microscope perspective, instead of looking at it in a broad scope. And actually, reality simply is that if we understand what takes place here, the whole idea is to get your attention drawn here instead of actually maybe right here. You see, and it's just something I'm just thinking about today, and I want to do a short video on it. It concerns me. I think also part of this problem is because people are not able to think. They just simply go to a group that sounds like they're involved or whatever, and they jump in the group and say, "Oh, this sounds pretty good," but they are not able to think on their own. And so that's what you want to do in life, is simply be able to think on your own. And you need to widen your horizons again. You need to read certain books and say, okay, is this really, really valid or not? Again, I'm not attacking either group here. This is an illustration. And there's quite a bit of concern about things of this nature, because again, it robs you of your energy. It robs you of your time. So what are you here for? You see, what are you here for? And so anyway, I don't want to make it long. Like I said, this will be less than 15 minutes. So I'm basically at that point. So if you have questions or you feel like this is important, I'll try to answer your questions. Okay. Thank you for your time. I wish you a good evening, and that you have a great tomorrow. Take care.